Hey everybody. So right now, trying to go through check 1 2 as Sean Spence has mentioned here. We are currently going through the ebbs and flows of YouTube Live and especially Livecast. So starting with myself here, Garrett right now at home in Metro Detroit, working on trying to get Alan in here to get ready for 10 o'clock, ebbs and flows. Thank everybody right now. I see our brothers from another mothers. The Mad Orange Cat Red himself doing some commenting on here. The Heat Daddy himself, Sean Spence, talking about time and everything in general. So, going live for 10 o'clock, getting ready for this fun live recording in here. And if I've screwed up anywhere else on going live, then hey, this is the fun part of these videos. So, second version of the live throw-in today for what was Detroit City taking on, going to Rhode Island, taking on Rhode Island FC. A hard-fought match, a match that we got to kind of see some ebbs and flows and changes. The first thing in particular was Carlos Saldana in goal instead of Nate Steinwasser. So Matt Sheldon in, backline, Matt Sheldon, Stephen Carroll, Devin Amumensa, Brent Levi's, Lijop, James Murphy is the holding mids behind Maxi Rodriguez up top. And essentially from there, we then had Ben Morse, Yazid Matthews, Victor Petzera. So a matchup that saw Detroit City come out 2-0 winners. Goals scored by Maxi Rodriguez in the first half, Victor Petzera getting a second. Elvis Amo coming on his first match played since April 6th, almost getting a goal right away. So, yeah, plenty of chances. I felt like it was, one of the best performances we've seen from Detroit City in league play, especially in the last 2 months. Their first win in league play since April the 20th, when it was a 3-1 win over Oakland Roots. And, yeah, I think I would say now, as we got some of these people coming in here into the chat, we'll just kind of welcome in and see essentially, as Sean Spence is providing some notes, looked like it was a diamond 4-4-2. Becerra and Matthews up top, Ben tucked in, basically into the midfield and staying high on the right. So I suppose I'm going to start off with asking some questions right now, just basically for the anyone that's coming into the live chat. Who were your players of the match? Who were some players that stood out for you? How did people feel about Carlos Saldana coming in over Nate Steinwasser? Red trying to interrupt and try to throw me off like he did at the new stadium site a couple of weeks ago when he threw in his riding with Red segment on there. So I see what you're doing. No, yeah, appreciate you. All this stuff is not unusual to see Tom Jones references in the chats. So essentially, yeah, I would say basically kind of for there. So, so I suppose the first question that I will want to kind of see to get some thoughts in here, Carlos Saldana over Nate Steinwasser. I think that kind of threw some people off when the starting lineup came out. Saldana's first start in league play, his fourth start this year. His previous 3 starts were in U.S. Open Cup action. Michigan Stars on April 16th, Houston Dynamo. I forget how Sean Spence mentioned it in Make City Make Spence. Jaime's asking where is Alan. Seems like Alan is he'll be in here shortly, as far as I know, hoping to get him on here. So I would just say sounds a message on there. Jaime typing in caps, bringing the energy always. So speaking while we're I suppose waiting on there and talking about the men's match, we'll kind of go on. So Red popped the question: thoughts on Pizarra, Ben, and Zede. I thought it was a solid performance in terms of the chances Ben that they were rolling in. I think Zede could have had a chance to make it, get a goal in the first half. I know there was a little bit of discussion on was it a penalty collision with Koke Vegas. Great to see Pizarra get a goal. See him involved and starting to click. This is kind of the most with Victor's been injured off and on the last 2 years playing for Chicago Fire 2 of MLS Next Pro, so it's good to see him in a way for me trying to have him get some minutes in and kind of see get into the rhythm of the game. Ben creating some chances, I thought, too. Great to see Maxi Rodriguez get another goal, get into the rhythm. I thought the flow in the first half was doing pretty well. Our distribution, some good little combo movements from the right flank, getting into the midfield, then going in throughout. I know in chatting with the Rhode Island crew earlier this week in the shout out to Matt and Ryan of RIFC Nation for allowing me to guest with them earlier in the week. Jack Pantaneu, who was kind of their creative link pin in the midfield, was recalled back to New England Revolution earlier this week. So I know that there was some issues there with Rhode Island as far as kind of in the creativity, how are they going to react essentially to the game. And I think we witnessed a solid Detroit City performance, a bit physical at times from between both teams. One kind of another question I suppose I'll ask with some people is thoughts with Elvis Amo. And red. Not even going to acknowledge that last chat discussion, but kind of get another thought for some people in here. Elvis Amo, his first match back since April 6th, when we thought he injured his groin, but turned out the hip adductor was torn right off his bone, as Nolan Bianchi put it in his Detroit News article. So first match back for Elvis since April 6th. Almost getting on the scoring sheet within minutes, just staying up top, catching a hold of the press. And kind of, Jeremy Churchman said best, was terrifying and awesome to see Elvis. Looking good. Yeah, I think he's good to see him already try to create chances early on as he, his first match back, his first minutes back. It's kind of in a way caught us a little bit off guard when we're watching the club's training video from Wednesday, and you see Elvis not only back in training but like going up for challenges, going up in flow and everything. I think it's solid also in a way too. I was a little bit surprised when Connor Rutz came on for Maxi Rodriguez, but at that moment in the game, I think Danny Dico and the side felt comfortable in taking it back and then rolling things out. So yeah, Sean Spence is saying it best in the chat. It's the best case scenario for having him back. Still, looking a little bit rough getting into it, and I think it's going to take at least a couple of games for Elvis. I won't even say 100%, but to be regularly in the rhythm, flow, movement, connecting, because we're thinking he was going to be at home for 2 months and then start to be close to getting ready to play, like either July or Sean saying in August. So the fact that he's back in the lineup the second week in June, already trying to make an impact, adding some strength to an upfront unit that's had its strongest game in a while, with Pizarra and Matthews and Ben Moore's coming in for there. I think it's promising. I also thought it was maybe for me, Brent Levi's his best game in a while. Because at times I felt like I've seen Brent come in. I've kind of wondered, is it time for Alex Villanueva to take the spot? But I thought Brent did pretty well, had some good distribution. Elijah looked like he was getting involved in the game a bit more, and he's really, I feel like it's a good sign for anyone that's seen and been around and seen City matches, even as far back, like going back to even 2019 when it was the first live iteration we saw of Elijah, and now to see him 5 years later, and see his game progress and see him becoming more confident in his game, more more intent. The penalty last week, I think, is a good sign because Jaime and I talked about it, I think, last week. I was shocked when it was him stepping up to the penalty because I forgot Maxi was subbed off minutes earlier. But then Lai going in and taking that from the spot was class. So great to see him still rolling in there. I think agree with Red on Matt Sheldon. I think it still throws me off a little bit. I know it's been talked about when Ben Morris was on Matt Sheldon's podcast, but it still throws me seeing just how fast Matt Sheldon is. Like, it's really cool. It's really refreshing, but it still throws me off every time. Just because I picture him as a workman-like player, but he's also got blazing speed. And he can kind of be Michael Bryant, like, in the fact that he can fill some different positions on the field. So I think that, with all that being said, I agree. You had a solid match on there, too. It was good that you able to get Michael Bryant a little bit of rest and have Michael come on as a sub. Especially because the matches are going to be coming in hot and heavy. Jeremy Churchman had a question in the chat. Do we see Elvis's first start Birmingham on the 26th? Don't want to see him resting up for do we put him on it for Pumas? I think, honestly, chat with the next matchup for the men's side is Charleston at home on June the 15th at Keyworth. First game of the doubleheader at 4 p.m. I honestly think that, is Danny going to roll out and go same exact 11 like he did tonight to keep the rhythm, to keep the rotation going? Because that's often, I feel like, the common thing you would see managers do. Or do you sense the opportunity to maybe mix things up based off of the team that you're playing? And a Charleston Battery side that is very, very dangerous, and everything in general. So let me take a look here. Just a second here. So I'm realizing there's some more. Yeah. And a note from what Red was saying in here. Charleston drew 0-0 against Pittsburgh tonight. So yeah, that'll be big seeing how how is Charleston going to react? And just basically in general here. So let me see. I'm trying to take a look at something in here. Yeah, so, I mean, how will Charleston react? They're a little bit of a different side than the two times we saw them play last year. They're a bit younger. They were scoring goals earlier, but now 3 goals over their last 5 matches. So I think that is a maybe really in there. I think Alan's trying to get in here, so I'm going to look to see how I can get him into the chat. Here. So, Ron, 2 goals in the last 5. Yeesh. That is definitely throwing me off guard a little bit, especially when you look at just the power of just the amount of talent that they've brought in the offseason. I think it's something in Charleston. I think it's something impressive to say of Charleston that they can let Augustine Williams go, who went to Indianapolis, to then be able to. The old guy can't find out how to get inside, huh? Tunnel stuff, inside jokes, yeah. but yeah, so I think it'll be very, very interesting. Gonna move in. Oh, he is in the chat at least. So let me see if here. So that might have been a link thing on my end. So second videos and stuff. I might have clicked the wrong button on there. Adam Hernandez, go Brady. You know, we're almost 1 year to the date of the famous molding recap at Detroit City Clubhouse that unfortunately we filmed on Red's camera, so it was a bit blurrier than what you're seeing here. But it added to the thing on there. Adam Hernandez quoting the Allen Jacobson reference, 6 points! If you don't know, go back. The video's on our, I think the video's on our YouTube. If not, it's on our Twitter, if we go back that far. But yeah, Sean Spence with a good note on Charleston Battery. Charleston's been riding Nick Morantich, super hot start, but he's cooling off now. So yeah, I think Charleston's also played a lot of matches earlier on in the year. The jokes continue about Red's blurry camera lens from 2023. I mean, to be fair, it was a men's, women's, like 2 matches going on at the same time at City Clubhouse. It was definitely a heightened sense of viewing, a heightened sense of what the fuck's going on type thing. But yeah, again, like I said, you just had to be there or check it out in the moment. But it lives on in Detroit City fandom, like a lot of things. Another thing that moves on in Detroit City fandom always is whenever Detroit City can play Ann Arbor and defeat Ann Arbor. Like, we'll go to what happened earlier today at Keyworth in the women's match. Earlier this afternoon, 4 p.m. K9's at Keyworth. Should have called it Dog Day Afternoon. For a pun master like me, I failed y'all. I'm sorry. I will not let this happen again. Maybe not as bad, at least. Anyway. So, to all that went up here, like Sean mentioned it, Total Vibes today at Keyworth. You know, that was the goals. With Sophie Romine, I mentioned earlier on Twitter, we talk about death, taxes, Nate Steinwasser, but I think the new and modified, the new remixed version of that is death, taxes, Sophia Romine scoring banners. Because it seems like every time she scores a goal, it's from outside of the box. It's got fire. It's got Juice, who was on, who's been killing it on commentary for women's matches with Mackie. Shout out Juice. And yeah, just screams in. Then a assist by Sophia Romine on a Faith Weber header. Ann Arbor takes advantage of they took advantage of a mistake, a struggle. Like, I think the distribution of repeaters. Ann Arbor with a quick pressure. They pull them back 2-1. Detroit City quickly responds. Kate Childers, 3-1 at the half. Hannah Crum with a great free kick goal. I agree with Sean Spence. This women's team stacked. And I think it was also, I think what a lot of us probably wanted to see is how was this team going to react from a 0-0 draw at Kalamazoo earlier in the week. A match that I'll see with everybody. What was more difficult? Detroit City women taking on Kalamazoo, or everyone trying to check out Kalamazoo's stream in the first half? I'll leave it for anyone in the chat to put the answers in there. So essentially on there. So Alan's in the chat. So I think I think I know the issue on the first one on there. Not tension. Tension, no. Not fully nailing YouTube Live, yes. So the vibes infected the street. Alan's like, I'm fucking here. Yeah, none of us. We ain't fucking leaving. It's like Detroit City's women to the rest of the W League. We ain't fucking leaving. This is our division. This is our league. To essentially go there. So I think essentially I want to get everyone else's thoughts in here. Next match for the women is Wednesday, Cleveland Force on the road. You know, a tough match. The last time that they won was the last time Cleveland won one game last year, which was at Midwest United, which unfortunately was one thing that they've done that we haven't yet. We get a chance to make amends for that next Saturday, 7 p.m., the second game of the women's doubleheader. Essentially at Keyworth on if there's a way. Jeremy Churchman asked a good question in the chat. Is the whole women's Great Lakes division going to come down between us and Midwest? Speedlight. I think also, too, like Kalamazoo seems to be making a case as potentially the third team in the running for this. Took on a Flint City side last week that while Flint only had two subs available, it seemed like to go and beat Flint 4-0 is an impressive statement. So the only team, I look back at this, the only team that we have not beat, the only team that we haven't beaten that's been a constant in all of our years playing in our women's side, UWS for 2 years, W League in 22, 23, and now 24 is Midwest United. We have played them 8 times, and we have lost all 8 times. This is for everyone in here in the chat that I know is mostly in there, would you call it, are we calling Midwest the Erie of our women's side? What's this team like as far as, because we have not been able to beat them yet. I think if we beat them on the 15th, it's a sign. Not just get a result. I mean, we've beaten Flint City twice this year, which was 2 more losses than Flint had all of last year in the regular season. So, Red said it best. Midwest is our bogey woman. So, bogey woman team. Yeah, it's a great way putting that on there. My encouragement to everybody that is going to be going to if you're going to go to the early game of the doubleheader, please stay for the women's game, big game. Maybe it's our 5th of 6 home matches this year. It is probably going to be our biggest home match. Show no mercy, sweep the leg, establish dominance on Rouge. So Sean Spence in the chat, going to say this right now. I think these women go undefeated, 9-1 or 8-2. The whole thing may come down to when the colleges come back players, which could happen mid-playoff. So essentially what is left for Detroit City now that they're at the halfway point? They've played 6 in the W League. So Cleveland Force on the road on the 12th, Midwest United at home on the 15th. So that makes it 8. Then you have Michiana away on June 19th. That was supposed to be a home game, but unfortunately both sides had to switch. And then Kalamazoo, the home finale on June 22nd. And then the final 2 is Midwest United away on Thursday, June 27th, and Ann Arbor away at June 30th. So those are the final 6 games for a W League side. They're 5 wins in the draw right now. Can they continue to wrap up the season undefeated? So that might be a immediately fun thought on there. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take a couple of minutes of a break in here. I'm going to pause this one, and I'm going to try to do another one to get Alan in, because I want to get his thoughts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to do this, so there might be a second throw-in. So we'll call this throw-in part 1. Give me about 5 to 10 minutes. Go ahead and get Alan in, and yeah, we'll go from there. So for those that have checked out this first part on there, thank you very much on there. Thank you for going with the technical difficulties and understanding on that. Let me go ahead and get Alan in here, and then we'll get ready for the live throw-ins part 2 tonight. So thanks everyone. Just 1 second.